So we are here today for Big Data and Hadoop introduction demo class. So this is being conducted by IT Skills Training Services, and yes, this is what we do. We provide next generation training and consulting solutions, and we have a dedicated trainer consultants who are successful in corporate experience. We are the leading training providers on leading tools which are very popular in the market, which are being used in the market as of now. That is Big Data and Hadoop, Microsoft Azure, PMP, Foundation Digital Marketing, etc. So the agenda for today is we'll know what is big data, how to tackle big data. We'll just have a basic overview of Hadoop, like what are the core components of it, what's the approach we need to take to learn Hadoop or to write some codes in Hadoop, and big data and Hadoop course, like what will be the course outline here in IT skills training, what are the career opportunities in Hadoop, and the prerequisites to learn big data and Hadoop, and then last but not the least, we'll also have a Q&A session. So if you have any doubts, anything, it can be right away. Let's start off. Big data. So what is big data? Big data. What happens? Like if in general terms, if I ask you what happens in an internet in a minute, the answer might shock you, because in just a minute, this is just a gist of image where you can see. We can see that now Netflix has been launched in India. Then we have YouTube, Google, Facebook. Every one of you must be having a profile in Facebook. Every one of you must be watching videos in YouTube. You must be liking it, commenting it. Ever wondered, like, your Facebook stores your data, right? So 1 year back also, when you share something, Facebook always prompts you. If it completes a year, it shares that, hi, this is your memory. Would you like to share? So have you guys ever wondered where this data is stored digitally? Like Facebook has billions of users every day, and each user does 100 200 likes per day, comments, he shares so much of thing, but every day when you log in, you always see your previous data stored in your account. So this is what the boom of the data is. It's digital data. That's with respect to Facebook. Whereas Twitter, in a minute there are around 3 lakh tweets, and there are 10 million ads displayed in Google. There are 6.9 million messages sent through Gmail, and yeah, these are just some numbers to give you the idea of what digital data is, and how it is being created, and the vast volume of data. Like 10 years, 15 years back, no one was so much worried about the digital data, because they were all worried about the structured data, tabular data. No one used to think like, if we swipe a card, or what can we do with the data, because basically no one was aware of what we can do, what this data can be generated. No one knew the value of the data. But for the past decade, this digital data has been boomed, and everyone knows the value of it. Now if you take the leading e-commerce, Flipkart, Amazon, anything, if you shop anything in Flipkart, if you shop for a mobile, you can always see people who bought this also bought this. So what is that? It is more of a like market basket analysis. So it's more of a probability, predictive analysis. Like if you go in a market, if you buy a toothbrush, there is always a possibility that that person will also buy a toothpaste. So giving that example, this is like one of the basic predict analysis which is going on, and there are huge analysis, huge predictive analysis which are going on in Amazon. And you know that Flipkart is not alone. They have all the competitors, so everyone needs to be on their toes. Everyone is ready for inventions. When I started back with big data, there were not much tools. There were tools, but 5 years into this industry, and already I have seen so much tools here which have been invented, which have been improvised. So that is how fast big data is growing. The main thing is data. We should know the value of the data. And yeah, if anyone has any doubt, you can stop me right away. So just letting you know. Yes, so basically what is big data? Just to give you the terms, like, see, it's a obviously massive volume of data. So data which is a bit difficult to process using traditional approaches like SQL, all that, and variety. So big data the other thing of big data is the variety of data. You bring any type of data, big data has answer for you. You bring any problem with your data, big data has the answer for that solution. Like for structured data, we have tools like Hive, Impala, Thales. So these are all structured. When I say structured, it is more of a tabular form of data that has a structure. Like if you're storing employee information, employee name, employee number, employee address, so this is a structured data. So we know, okay, this data is this, okay. Unstructured. Unstructured data is more like, as I said, when we swipe a card, what image we get, what data we get, that is unstructured. We don't know. The data doesn't have any metadata. A video data. So such things, images data. So all these are unstructured. Where the data, like, it doesn't have anything. They don't have any data types. You need to define yourself. Semi-structured is more of like XML data. So there is some structured data and there is some unstructured data in XML. Usually, if you have seen. So these are some of the variations of data. So the most important thing to know in big data is the 3 V's of big data. This is 3 V's, but now it is almost 4. The 4th V being the value. So as I said, we also need to know the value of the data, because we should always be on our toes to know how this data can help us or a client to take their business forward. Because sometimes even when client or top corporates come to you and they say, boss, this is my data, I want to do this, even they don't know the value of data. With the help of big data tools, you can always suggest your customers, always suggest your clients that with this data you can do this. So this is how it is. So volume. So as I said, Google receives over 2 million search queries every day. So Google, everyone knows, if you have any doubt, if you want anything to know, what the first thing people will do is Google. If you want to buy a mobile, if you want to buy a TV, first thing you will do is Google. Now imagine when you're typing and Google says, oh, sorry, we have a system server breakdown, please wait for 5 minutes. Have you seen such message till now? Even if it might be very, very rare. So that is how fast processing is going on. The main thing that Google is doing is parallel processing the data. They're storing the data in cloud. So whenever 1 billion requests are sent to the Google server, 1 billion requests, and there is no concept of queue or something, like if two persons are simultaneously sending the request, it's not like, okay, that person's request is will come first and yours will be waiting. No, parallelly your requests are processed. So that is what Google is done for. Volume, any volume of data, big data has answer for that. Variety, as I said, variety of data. We have YouTube data, which is video data. We have Facebook data, which also generate, which have pictures, which have videos, which have audios, and then we have over 200 million emails which are sent every minute to Gmail, Yahoo, Reddit, you name it. Even the corporate Microsoft Outlook. Velocity. So velocity of data is something like when we particles like experiments at CERN generate colossal amounts of data. Particles collide 600 million times per second. So this is more of a data that is concerned with the CERN industry. The data center processes about 1 petabyte of data every day. So as the things are going, I think in the coming days we will be speaking about yottabyte, because that's how huge the data is going. Gone are the days of MB, GBs and all. Because now 10 years back we used to have a floppy disk which was to store the data in MBs. Then gradually it came to GBs. Now we have hard disk of terabytes, 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes. Even that is very less for us. So you can just imagine the volume of data that's being increased day by day. So yes, when we say big data, obviously there will also be challenges in this. So let's look at what are the challenges in big data. First one is, as I said, it's difficult in identifying the right data and determining how to best use it. So as I told, many people don't know the value of data. First thing when you start off, you need to know your data. You need to analyze your data. You need to know what kind of data it is, what analysis I can do, and what is the best output I can give it to the end user. So this is the first thing which we always need to remember. And the second point is struggling to find the right talent. Like as I said, we need to have the right people at the right job. Like, see, if a person has to do some analysis in his data and he says that, boss, I just want to do analysis on my historical data. It's not a real-time data. I am looking for a batch processing system where I want to do analysis in historical data. I have 10 years of data and you just tell me what is the past history of all this data. When a customer has such type of requirement, and when you tell him that, okay, you can use Spark, all that and all, so these are all real-time data, real-time tools which cannot be which can be used, but they can't perform so well in historical data. So that is when MapReduce and all comes into picture, Hadoop. So you always need to know which tools to be used for which data. So if I tell it's a SQL, tabular data, then we can always go for Hive, Impala. If it's unstructured data, you can go for any of the NoSQL databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, then CouchDB. And if it is a semi-structured data, like if the looking for more of a transformation, there is always Pig Latin. So, and if the client wants to schedule their data for a particular time, we can always go for OZ. So these are some of the tools which I'll let you guys know in the future slides. So this is how we should know the right talent. Next is data access and connectivity obstacles. So yes, connectivity, there is always a problem in many of the databases, but in Hadoop it always provides a lot of APIs, streaming APIs, mainframe APIs for data access. So it has a distributed file system known as the Hadoop distributed file system. Data technology landscape is evolving extremely fast. As I said, the tools, the technology in big data is evolving. Everyone is looking for innovation and improvisation. So we always need to be on our toes. We need to be updated. Next thing is we need to find new ways of collaborating across functions and businesses. So big data is huge. It can be tagged to any type of business. It may be banking, or it may be retail, or it may be media. Any type of data, any type of business, it can be. If you have huge data, you can always come to big data. The other thing is security concerns. Yes, this is one of the main thing which happens. Like whenever a client or anyone comes, they tell, okay, we are processing your data in this way. Okay, they're all good. But then the question they ask is, boss, what about the security of my data? Like if you see the bank data, the card, like Visa company or credit card company, they are very choosy about their data. They don't want their data to be shared on public platform. So they always ask about the security. What's the security of my data? You say that, okay, you are doing this in HDFS, you are doing it in cloud, but it means that it's some other machine only, right? Ultimately. So what is the security you're providing? So that is also one of the concern which we need to address. Even that is taken care by Big Data and Hadoop. So any questions till now? If all are good, just put a smiley. We can take it.
Shashwat, Devish.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me.
I had just quick question here. You talked about speed, processing, performance, and everything. Just I'm curious to know about the data type, the storage, the structure, and the storage. Is it the similar kind that Oracle, their tables, DB2, everything holds? Only just as difference is like the processing, or it's the entire different thing in big data, the storage wise, the performance, processing, everything.
Everything is different. Everything is different.
Okay, so the entire structure and everything is like different.
Yeah, the way you process the data, the way you query the data.
Okay, the storage and everything is totally different.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah, I'll let you know in the future slides. I will elaborate on that. Okay. Yeah. So yes, so let's go Apache Hadoop introduction. So first, let's know what is Hadoop. Hadoop is one of the tools which is used for big data, and it is one of the open source tool. So it is a software platform. These are one of the few highlights of Hadoop. Like it allows us easily to write and run data-related application, facilitates processing and manipulating massive amount of data. The processes are conveniently scalable. Okay, let me explain you each and every line here. Allows us to easily write and run data-related applications. So what this mean to say is HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System, is write once and read many times. So here we always look for large data. We look for batch-oriented data. So that is when Hadoop comes into picture. So if you're looking for any real-time process, then Hadoop is not the platform for you. There is something other thing known as Spark. So that is like the main feature of this is write once, read many times. So when once you write the data, you can read it as many times as you want. Next thing, it facilitates processing and manipulating massive amount of data. So as I did here, distributed parallel processing works. So basically, the HDFS, it has a master-slave architecture. So master-slave architecture, when I say there will be there will be one master and there will be n number of slaves. And few points to call out here is replication factor, fault tolerance. So all these HDFS takes into picture. So when I say fault tolerance, I mean to say that data, when it is put into HDFS, by default, it is replicated to 3 nodes. So replication factor in HDFS by default is 3. So your data will be stored in 3 nodes. So if by chance any of the node goes down, you will always have your data in the other 2 nodes. So that is where fault tolerance comes into picture. To give you one brief example of that. Next, the processes are conveniently scalable. So HDFS has one good thing is that is scalability. It can do what vertical scalability and horizontal scalability. Okay, you can do vertical scalability is like CPU, increasing the CPU and increasing your RAM, whereas horizontal scalability is adding more machines to the cluster. So when I say cluster, cluster is a group of master and slaves. So you will have one master and you will have n number of slaves. All this together is known as a cluster. So whenever I use the word cluster, just bring this to your mind. And when I say scalability, now see, you have one master and you have two slaves. So in total, you have 3 machines. In that, one is master and two is slaves. So tomorrow you decide, okay, I want to increase my slaves. So I'll add one more machine to this cluster. You can always do that. That is called as horizontal scalability. So let's go to the history of Hadoop, like what happened, how, why. So it basically started in around 2003, 2004. So that is when the Google they published their GFS and MapReduce papers. GFS is Google File System. So HDFS is based on GFS. And Doug Cutting, this is a very important name in history of Hadoop. So he is the person who started this. He invented this Hadoop. He made this tool as open source so that all can use it. And the name Hadoop, it is very unique, and the reason is like his son, he had a toy, he had an elephant, and his son had named his toy as Hadoop. So on asking that, he always tells that kids are always good in keeping names. So Doug Cotting told that he was looking for a name which was not taken, which was unique, and which would ring bells in the user's mind when they think about it. Hadoop, what is this Hadoop? So that is how the name came. And yeah, in 2006, Yahoo, they hired Cutting. So this phase from 2006 to 2010, this is when all the major players in the market started picking up Hadoop. So Google, however, they started it with GFS and MapReduce, and then Yahoo started it with Hive. So there is a database known as Hive in Hadoop that was used by Yahoo. And then Facebook had you started invented this Cassandra, I guess. So initially for the Facebook Messenger, they were using Cassandra. So when you message, when you use the Facebook Messenger, right, back of it there is a NoSQL database which runs on the data. So in 2008, it was a very important year because that time Yahoo, they had claimed that they had sorted 1 terabyte of data in just 3.5 minutes over 910 nodes. So that was a huge achievement back in 2008. So which Yahoo had claimed, and then again in 2009 they did that in 62 seconds. So you can see that that's a sort from 3.5 minutes. Although obviously the nodes were higher. The initially it was 910 nodes in 2008, whereas in 2009 it's 1460 nodes. So this is some of the benchmarks which because that was a period when all these companies were promoting big data and Hadoop to the clients, because as you know this is a new technology and many corporates or many clients are very hesitant to move. They're like it must be like 10-15 years when the data is in traditional approach databases and all. So any customer will be a bit hesitant to move their data towards Hadoop. So this is the time when all the companies were proving the technology. They were proving that was Hadoop can do this, it can do this, so your data is safe. So it was more of convincing to the clients. And in 2008, this is when Cloudera. Cloudera is one of the leading Hadoop distribution in the market. So when you see your Apache Hadoop, right? Hadoop is only the term. Apache is the company which provides an open distribution of Hadoop. So like Apache and Cloudera, there are many other companies which are open sourcing the Hadoop distribution. Like there are Hortonworks, there are Mapr, Then there are other things, but these three or four are the top players in the market. So just let me give you a basic overview of Hadoop, like basically what Hadoop is. When we talk about Hadoop, you need to understand two major things about it. First one is HDFS. So as I said, HDFS is Hadoop Distributed File System. And second one is MapReduce. So as the name suggests, there are two parts for it, mapper and reducer. And yeah, there are other projects also around Hadoop. It's known as Hadoop ecosystem, and we have Pig. Pig, as I told, Pig is more usually used for semi-structured data. It's more of a Latin language where we use for data transformation. Hive. Hive is more like a SQL. So if you have a SQL background, you can start off with Hive. So here the firing of the queries, everything is same. So the query format and all is correct. But what happens when you fire the query? Backend, how it is processing. This is all entirely different in Hadoop. So if when I tell that if you have a SQL background, you can start off with that, yes, you can start off, but that is in the front end. So you fire your query, you get the output good. If you want on that much, then good. But if you want to know backend, how this query is processing, how this query is fetched into three nodes, how these three nodes are taking this query and parallelly processing it and giving us the output. So that is how MapReduce comes into picture. Next one is HBase. HBase is more of a NoSQL database. Then Flume is more of a data ingestion layer. And Uzi, as I said, it's a workflow scheduler. So suppose if you write some code today in MapReduce or Hadoop, and you want that code to be executed tomorrow from 9 to 10 for 1 hour. That time you can always use Uzi. So it will schedule your job for you. So you can say, boss, tomorrow morning 9 to 10, please run my job and store. This is the input and this the output should be stored here. So Uzi will do it for you. Scoop. Scoop is more of like a ETL tool. ETL, when I say it is extract, transform, and load. So this comes into picture like if you have a data in MySQL or RDBMS like such databases, and if you want to directly import the data into HDFS, that time you can use Scoop, and you can do this vice versa also. From HDFS you can directly export it to SQL or Oracle databases and all. So yeah, as I said, a set of machines running HDFS and MapReduce is known as a Hadoop cluster. Individual machines are known as nodes. More the nodes, better is the performance. So yes, as you saw, Yahoo's as an example, right? Initially they did that in 900 nodes. They took 3.5 minutes, but as they increased their nodes for 1,400 nodes, the time gradually decreased. Any questions till now? Can someone unmute their mic? Some disturbances is there. Great, great. Okay. So that's a basic overview of Hadoop. Like there are a lot to it, but since today this is just a demo class, I don't want you all to go much deep into Hadoop. I'll just tell you like basic overflow, like how it is, what are the components, how it works, and all. Please feel free to stop me at any time. Okay. The characteristics. So just let's look into the Hadoop characteristics. What it is. So reliable shared storage, HDFS, and analysis system. So as I said, the data storage is shared here. It's parallel processing. So the replication factor here is 3, as I mentioned earlier. Highly scalable, as I said, horizontal scalability. So that is one of the main characteristics of Hadoop. We can always add machines. Cost effective, as it can work with commodity hardware. So when I say commodity hardware, the other meaning for this is cheap machines. So if you want to build a cluster, it's not like you go to a market and buy all the high-end machines. No, you can build your cluster in your laptop and a desktop. You can always build a 2-node cluster there. Your laptop can be a master, your desktop can be the slave. So that is how easy it is to just install a cluster. Only thing to keep in mind is that you should have a basic configuration in both the systems, like some 2 GB or 3 GB of RAM and hard disk, all that. Just basic, not like high. And the machines need to be proper machines. No need of some hi-fi machines. So that is what we mean by commodity hardware. Other is highly flexible and can process, as I said, both structured, unstructured, semi-structured, Any type of data, Hadoop has answer for it. Built-in fault tolerance. So fault tolerance is the same thing. We have the replication of data. So your data, when you ingest it into HDFS, by default, it will be copied into 3 nodes. And yeah, write once and read multiple times. So this is one of the main basic principle of HDFS. As we are looking for batch system, batch oriented processing. So we are always targeting for huge data. So if you might have questions, okay, you always say big data, huge data. So if I have small amount of data, can't I do process it in Hadoop? Obviously you can, but when you use Hadoop for such small things, you won't come to know the flavor of Hadoop. You won't come to know the advantage of Hadoop. If you want to know what Hadoop actually is, take a big chunk of data, 2 GB, or sort it in any of the other machines and sort it in Hadoop and see the time difference. So that is when you will come to know the exact usage and advantage of Hadoop. And yes, last optimized for large and very large data sets. That's what I was trying to say. If you have a large volume of data and it's a variety, if you have a variety of data, you can always use Hadoop. So yeah, let me give you a architecture, like what architecture this Hadoop ecosystem has. So you can see two diagrams here. One is Hadoop 1.0 and other one is Hadoop 2.0. So let's just let me tell you that as I told that improvisations are always there. So Hadoop 2.0 is the latest version of Hadoop, which was introduced, I guess, late 2013 or early 2014. So that time. Initially, there was only Hadoop 1.0. So we all started off with Hadoop 1.x. So the difference here is, see, in the left hand side of the diagram, you can see HDFS at the bottom. After that, you can see MapReduce. In MapReduce, you can see it's mentioned cluster resource management and data processing. So initially, what used to happen is MapReduce used to do both two tasks together. It used to always see the cluster resource, resource management and data processing. But in Hadoop 2.0, on the right side of the diagram, you can see that above HDFS there is something called as YAN. The full form of YAN is yet another resource negotiator. So here what it has done is it has told MapReduce, boss, you are very good in data processing. Why not you just concentrate on that? The cluster resource management, you leave it to me. So in the second part, as you can see in the right hand side diagram, above YAN, you can see at the top left MR, that is MapReduce. So initially in MapReduce was just above HDFS. Now MapReduce has gone above and another layer has come, that is YAN. So this takes care of cluster resource management. And MapReduce now only focuses on data processing. So as you can see in the second diagram, you can see other tools also. Like they also mentioned it. If you are looking for a batch processing, you can always go for MR, that is MapReduce. If you are looking for more of a data flow, data transformation, then you can always go for PIG. If you are looking for something like analysis, structured data, tabular format, you can always go for Hive. If you want to do some graphing or other things, you can always go for StreamGraph, Node.js, AngularJS. These are all the graph tools which are used. And then it is always HBase. It is another NoSQL database. So these are like some of the tools which are which include in the Hadoop ecosystem. Let me tell you, only from NoSQL point of view, right? Today we have around 170 tools, only NoSQL. So you can just imagine how many tools might be there in Hadoop. So it's a very vast ecosystem, very vast ecosystem. You always have to pick up your tool, pick up what you want to do, and you need to expertise it. Yeah, this is more like second Hadoop 2.0, HDFS, YARN. So as I said, batch, interactive, online, streaming, graph, in memory. Yeah, you can see Spark here, in memory. That is third from your right. So this is, as of now in market, Spark is taking a lot of attention. The reason being is it is a competitor to MapReduce, I can say. So the reason being is Spark is more of a in-memory, whereas MapReduce is in batch. So it's more of a HDFS, but in Spark there is no concept of HDFS or nothing. It always does what it does it in memory. So that is why the processing is much faster. But when I say in memory, the Spark takes the concept of what we say low-end machines and all. You should always have a high-end machines, because if your data is huge, even your machine should be capable of handling it. So that is one in memory. Then graph, as I said, there are many graph databases, streaming databases. Like see, as I told, Hadoop has answer to all of your problems. If Hadoop doesn't have a answer to your solution, then what Hadoop provides is an API. So if you have mainframe data or if you have any other type of data, and if we can't process it using any of the existing Hadoop tools, Hadoop always provides the APIs. So it provides the streaming APIs, it provides the mainframe APIs, where you can ingest the data into the ecosystem and then process it. So that's like more of a basic idea about Hadoop and its components, its architecture. So now, yeah, you might be thinking that, okay, Hadoop is good, okay, it's big data. What about career-wise? Is it the technology that is running the market? Is it the technology where I can see myself in the future? Is it something which if I learn now, will I have a good work to do in the future? Well, the answer to all these questions is a big yes. Capital bold, anything you put. So let me tell you about the career opportunities. As you can see, like see, there are 4.4 million IT jobs to support big data, and these are not just numbers. As in 2017, we can say that it's the data is going to be doubled. So the amount of online data, the amount of digital data that is producing, as I said, it will be in yottabytes. So the people nowadays are like all the corporates, all the major corporates, you name it, everyone has now huge data. Gone are the days when you used to have data or small data, okay, do some query in that, do it, okay, client is happy. No, today the client like it's not like client comes to you, okay, but whenever you suggest the client that some improvisations can be done over this, that time the client will always be happy. So this is how it is growing. There are a lot of jobs in big data. Every time you put a resume in any of the portal, you will get minimum 3 to 4 calls daily, because all the top companies, you name it, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, IBM, anything, Adobe, anything you name it, Microsoft, they are looking for the Hadoop talent. So career opportunity is really good in this technology. And investment, as you can see, from 2012 it's just increasing, and it will also increase further also. The investments in big data will never decrease, because everyone now, as I told, the period from 2006 to 2010 was a proving period for big data. So that was the period when all these companies took big data, they proved the technology. So now there is no proving. Everyone knows now. It's everyone wants to get into big data. All the corporates, all the clients, they want their data to be in big data. They want to make use of the technology. They want to make use of Hadoop. They want to know the different flavors of Hadoop. So this graph is, as you can see, it's just increasing and it will keep on increasing. I can say you for the next 10 years at least, big data and Hadoop is here to stay, at least for 10 years. And okay, who are hiring? As you can see, these are some of the names. There are many other top companies which are looking. Even from if you are seeing from India perspective, Aadhaar card, you must be knowing about the Aadhaar card. So HCL is managing it. Even in that, Hadoop is being used. If you look at the railways, even in the railways, Hadoop is being used. SBI, State Bank of India, even they have started incorporating Hadoop. So these are some of the Indian companies we are taking apart. However, the MNCs will always be there. So these are some of the companies in which you can see there are a lot of scope and working opportunities in Hadoop. Okay, so this I guess everyone will have in their mind salary. What is the salary for Hadoop skills? Okay, you keep saying that okay, Hadoop is good, Hadoop is that, Hadoop has future, Hadoop has investment. Okay, so everything is okay, but what is it there for me? As a Hadoop developer, what will be my value in the market? Well, let me tell you, if there is an 8+ experience Java developer, and if you have experience in Hadoop of just 4 years, his and your salary will be the same. And this is no joke. This is from personal experience I'm saying. So that's how important a Hadoop technology is in your resume. Nowadays, in all the resumes, what the important keyword they search is Hadoop Big Data. If you have this in your resume, it's always an added advantage. And if you technically prove yourself in the interview process, you can always demand your salary. And it was previous days when they used to think, no, 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 your designation is this, we can't pay, this is company standards. No, now the company, they are not taking into consideration the company standards, because if technically you prove themselves, then you can demand your salary, and they will give it. So that's how important it is. So this is like basic like big data and Hadoop course contents like what IT skill training provides others fee. So it's introduction to big data and Hadoop setup. So we will also tell you like how to set up, like as I told, cluster and all. So we'll tell you how to set up a cluster, how to install a master slave, a main node, data node, all that. We'll tell you about the HDFS architecture. We'll tell you the working knowledge of MapReduce. We'll also have hands-on experience. One more thing, all the tools listed here, when we say you about theoretically, after theoretically there will always be a practical session. So it's not like, okay, we tell you, boss, okay, Yan is this, okay, Hive is this, okay, go home and study. No, we will make you work. There will always be hands-on. So it is always important that when you read something, it's always good to apply it so that it stays on your mind longer. We'll also tell you about the YAN architecture, that is the latest architecture as I told. Then we'll tell you about Hive, Scoop and Flume, HBase, then other components of Hadoop ecosystem like Uzi, Spark, Kafka. Then we'll also tell you about the commercial distribution of Hadoop, like who are the major players in Hadoop. As I said, as of now it's Apache, Cloudera, then there is MapR, then there is Hortonworks, then EMC Square has its Pivotal, sorry, then IBM has its Big Insights. So all the companies are getting into it. Then last but not the least, we'll also give you a project. So you will have to select a project where you have data, huge volume of data, and you can play around with it. So this is the course outline of provided by IT Skills Training Services. So yeah, that's it from my side. I am opening the forum for question and answers. So please, asking the duration of the course.
Yeah, they wish like the duration will be 4 days on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. Hello. Yeah, it will be morning 10 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock. Total 32 hours of training, plus you have assignment part, then projects.
This live project will be given to us post the training, is it?
Yeah.
All right. I guess we have one question from Jitin. I just wanted to ask this, so I guess this is
Yeah, I'm
good
coming
question.
into it.
You can answer. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jitendra Kumar, he has a question. I'm coming from non-Java background. Can I get into Hadoop focusing on Hive and Peak? Obviously, yes, a big yes. So initially, what was the perspective like few years back? As you know, MapReduce is the basic architecture of the HDFS, and MapReduce is written on Java. So initially, the perspective was like if you know Java, then you can come. But nowadays, that's not the case. Java is an optional now. Prior to this, Java was mandatory, but now Java is optional. Now, if you know Java, if you know Ruby, if you know shell scripting, if you are well versed with SQL, you can always get into Hadoop. So now Java is just optional. Even if you are non-Java, you can always start off with Hadoop. As mentioned, you can use Hive, Pig, graph databases, all such things.
So you have listed down the set of tools here like Pig, Hive, and so many Scoop and all those things. So everything will be covered in this Java training, is it? I'm sorry, Hadoop training.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the course outline, right? So whichever is mentioned there, all of that will be covered. All of that will be covered.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, Vinuta has a question. I am having 5 years of experience in mainframe domain. How this course will help me in job prospective way? Okay, so Vinita, as you said, you are from mainframe domain. So earlier I had mentioned that Hadoop has also mainframe APIs. So whatever you are doing in your mainframe domain as of now, the data which you are playing with, you can always explore it using Hadoop. because since Hadoop provides the APIs and all for mainframe data, you can always whatever you're doing in the from that perspective, you can learn Hadoop, you can understand the advantages and disadvantages of Hadoop, and what you want to do with the data, you can always start off with Hadoop. And from the job perspective, is always a plus point.
Shashwat, but I have a question here.
Yeah.
I'm really afraid because mainframe basically use DB2 structure, and they even their APIs are totally tagged with DB2 only, and I don't find any such bank or any any retail company who are have their relation from mainframe to Hadoop as of now, because I did a lot of research and Google on it, so I could not find anything in this. So if people are from mainframe background, then how it's going to really help them? Is it like totally, a technology change or something like this? How it will help?
It
If you
will
can tell me
definitely be a
in perspective.
technology change will always be there, but since you are from a DB background or a data background, so you'll always have, see, Hadoop is an ecosystem. You have a pure Java programming tool, you have pure SQL tool, you have pure NoSQL tool, you have pure shell scripting tool. So whichever, whatever is your comfortability, you can always pick that. So even from mainframe, there is a API. I don't remember the name. It starts from S. So if you want more information on that, I can provide you after this training.
No, that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, from the implementing perspective, I don't think so many companies are implementing it, but there is a possibility.
Well, implementation fine. I was just worried about the career perspective because there is no such demand from mainframe to Hadoop as of now. So because Vinita asked a very good question, because
Yeah, yeah.
even I'm
So
from
see, when you
non-Java
are,
and non-Hadoop
yeah,
background. So
yeah, so when you do that, right, it's always good to start off with a POC or some certification. So see, you already have 5+ years of experience or any number of experience, and you always proved in that. So you have the mainframe knowledge and you have. So apart from that, when you include in your resume that you have done a POC on Hadoop, this was the tool, all this, and you have also certification on that. So that will always add to your resume. So ultimately, at the end of the day, what you need to do is technically clear the rounds. As simple as that. So if you can technically convince the interviewer, then I don't think so any reason for you to reject. Yeah, some companies always look for project experience, but not all the companies. Some companies also look on the technical expertise of the candidate. So they will give you some solutions, they will give you some scenarios, and they'll just look your approach. They will see which tools you are using, how you are using, why you are using. So if you, that's what I said, if you technically convince them, then it's always a plus point for you.
agree.
Hi Sashwat, this is Rajesh here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
I had
Go
a
ahead.
question actually. I have 10 years of experience in mainframes actually. So right now, if I am thinking of going for Hadoop training and learning big data actually, so already there are
Okay.
some many people in the market who are having around 4 years of experience or 3 to 5 years of experience.
Uh-huh.
Let's say even 100 years of experience. Actually. So now, if I enter into the Hadoop domain actually, okay, I put in effort for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. I put in a lot of effort and I understand the concepts and then probably clear an interview also. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's assume I'm going to compete with people who are having 4.5 years of experience or 5 years of experience. Actually, then what is the value for the extra experience? Actually, then does it go for a toss or what kind of profiles I will be actually applying for?
Okay.
Did you get my question? What I'm
So
trying to?
yeah, I got your
Should I
question.
be
And you are the
working?
and if you come into Hadoop, you will be the perfect person. You will be the
No,
perfect
why?
person
Why?
for this
I
10
need to
plus. Yeah,
understand that.
I'll tell you. The reason being, as you know, Hadoop is a new
Hmm.
technology and it has been in the market for the past 5 years. And nowhere in the market you will see any person who has a 7+ experience or more only in Hadoop. So if you have a Hadoop project in your company, and if you want a manager for that, that manager will never have Hadoop experience, because when they bring into a person, we bring in a person of 8+ or 9+ into a Hadoop project, the perspective they are looking for is the management. They are not looking for someone who is technically into this, because there are no one. Even if somebody
So for
claims that,
yeah. Please continue.
so such persons is what is initially they will give training or they expect basic knowledge. so that when you interact with the client, you can always tell them, okay, this tool is for this, you can always use this approach, you can always go ahead with this. So that is the maximum knowledge they expect from 8+ guy. Because I think six max to max 7. When Hadoop was started, that time that person must have started. If he's claiming that he's 7+ in Hadoop, because it's a fairly new technology. So whenever you have big data projects, right? Even the managers which I have worked, they didn't have much. I have technically, when you compare, I'm much better than them, but they bring in a lot of experience. When you say 10+, obviously you have a lot of experience which you can bring into this project. And technically wise, okay, if you take the training, it will always be a plus point for you. It will always be a plus point. So does that answer your question?
In that perspective, then yes, it answers to a certain extent. My one more question is that, like, right now there are so many things in big data going on. You only explained like HBase, so many things I didn't know itself actually. So if someone has to put emphasis on, he cannot look into so many things, right? He needs to be expert in some things and just have a high level idea about something. So my next question is like, which should he be focusing on? Particularly
Right.
if you've got people coming from the IT background, actually mainframe, Java, whatever, Unix, Perl, shell scripting, anything. So like, what should
Right.
they be focusing on instead of so many things actually?
Right. So let me tell you my experience. As I told you, there are so many tools. In 5 years, I have mastered only 10 tools in Hadoop. Only 10 tools. To be frank with you, I know I have the knowledge of almost many tools, but I have mastered only 10 tools, and that's what it takes.
Okay.
If you want to survive in the industry, you need to master only 4 or 5 tools. That's it, and you will be in demand. You just need to pick. So even in the projects, when you give interviews and all, they don't, some corporates or companies ask for particular technology, but I will tell you, pig, hive, mapreduce, hbase, these 4 will always be in any job description. You name the job description, these 4 technologies will always be there. So if you just learn MapReduce, Pig, Hive, HBase, you can always enter into the company. And okay, coming to the project, yes. So depending on the project is always the client's requirement. So if a client tells, okay, I want this tool to be used, obviously then they will give you a chance to learn that tool as well. So it's not like you should be knowing all the tools. You should master at least 4 to 5 tools. From my personal experience, you should master at least 4 tools. If you know 4 tools in big data Hadoop, you are good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.